The difference between a team that shows up, clocks in, clocks out, and does the minimum amount necessary to perform the mission, and a team that leans in, leaves it all in the field, and brings absolutely 100% of their discretionary effort to bear, comes down to this: the ability to answer 5 simple questions. These aren't just questions that you can ask as a leader. The real power, the unlocking power, is when you treat them as keystones of success, and you'll know you've gotten there when your team can answer them without you being in the room. That's the power of the 5-question Keystone framework. We as leaders have to be responsible and accountable for ensuring that our team knows what matters. Without being able to answer these 5 core questions, employees make decisions with good intent, but without good direction. They don't connect the decision to the purpose, to the vision, to the plan. The result is that we get transactional effort, we get transactional actions, we get transactional activities, we get transactional behavior. We as leaders don't want to lead transactional teams. We want to lead teams of highly engaged, purpose-driven, emotionally involved people who can connect the what they do to why we exist. Here's my favorite way to think about this. And I was introduced to this story a few years ago, and I really, really like it. Leadership is about creating missionaries. Transactional management is about managing mercenaries. Here's what I mean by that. When we are leading mercenaries, we are engaging them to perform a transaction. A mercenary is a soldier for hire, someone who is paid to do a job. They are not paid to care. They are not paid to be personally involved in the mission. They're not paid to do more than the job. That's what mercenaries are. And frankly, I'm sick of it. We have way too much mercenarial behavior in organizations. And that's not our team members' fault. That's our fault as leaders. That is what we set the tone for. That's what we create an environment around. That's what we build. That doesn't create long-standing, durable success. That doesn't create a cult-like culture. Mercenaries are there to do a job. And if that's all you need to have done, and if that's all you think of your people as, that's all you're going to get. But I think there's so much more available. I think being able to answer 5 simple questions as a leader is what allows us to go and unlock our team members from being mercenaries to a job to being missionaries, evangelizing what it is that we believe in as an organization, why we're here, and what we're trying to do for our customer. Because that's the alternative side of the stage. A missionary, someone who believes deeply to their core in what they're doing. They'll give discretionary effort. They'll give their very best. They'll do more than is required because they care, because they've connected the dots between why they are there, why the organization is there, and the purpose and mission of what we do as a team. Leadership is about creating missionaries who bring their very best to work every day. It's not about enabling mercenaries to do the minimal viable output to achieve the task. That's management. That's not what we're here for. Let me just put a challenge question out there right now in front of you. Do you want mercenaries who show up for a paycheck? Or do you want missionaries who evangelize the purpose of the work, who understand that what we're doing is bigger than one person? And that includes you, Mr. CEO. That includes you, Mr. Department Leader. That includes you, Mr. Owner. The work we do is bigger than ourselves. And if it's not, you're a mercenary. Full stop. Our job as leaders, create missionaries, not mercenaries. Let me tell you a story. There was a time about 15 or 16 years ago where I was tasked and charged with leading an auto repair organization at AAA. 34 locations, incredible people, incredible technicians. And I didn't have an auto repair background. I didn't have any technical chops that said, hey, Dusty is qualified to go run a car care center, to go work in an auto repair shop. And I remember one of our very first team meetings where we brought in the entire organization. We were bringing in all the leaders of the company, our store managers, our lead technicians, et cetera. And there was a crusty master technician who stood up back of the room and said, hey, Dusty, I appreciate that AAA is bigger than just repairing cars, but from where I sit, you don't know anything about fixing cars. So I'm not sure that I want to believe what we do here. Like that's what we do. We fix cars. Don't lose sight of the fact that we fix cars. And he's not wrong, but that's the transaction of what we did. And I just looked at him and said, hey, I really appreciate, number one, your courage, stand up and say what you believe. Number two, that you're willing to challenge me. I think that's incredibly important for who we are as an organization. It's that we don't just take on rote whatever it is that someone says, we challenge it. And see, what I was telling them was, hey, we're bigger than fixing cars. And he was telling me, no, we're not. That's what I do. So I just asked him this simple question. Why does a person come to us to have their car fixed? He says, I'll give you a really good example. They want to make sure the car stops at the next red light. They want brakes. That's what we do. So great. But you said the right thing the first time. They want to make sure their car stops. And I said, I think it's even higher than that. They want to make sure that the people in their car are protected. And I think it's even more important than that. They want to make sure that the things they care most about in life are protected, that they don't have to worry, that they can have peace of mind. That's what our customers coming to us and buying from us. They are coming to buy peace of mind. They are coming to buy from us, not what we do. Anybody can do that. They're coming to us because they trust us and they know that we will protect them. Now, he begrudgingly said, I hear you, but I fix cars. He's not wrong. But it was pretty cool a year or two later when he came back. We were doing another one of our annual training conferences, and he said, I have to tell you, I have become a Kool-Aid drinking, this is why we do what we do guy. Not because you said anything powerful, but because I really realized that our customers come to us, not for what we do. They come to us because we care about them. Bingo. That's why we're here. That's what we do. Here's why these are keystone questions. Here's why this framework matters so much. The core here is the reason this is a keystone is because when these questions can be answered without you in the room, you know that the organization is enabled and empowered to create a bigger impact because the people that are closest to the customer, closest to the problem, have the information they need to make a vision forward decision about what to do to solve the problem, to take care of the customer. So let's get into it. What are these 5 simple questions? Question number 1, why are we here? This is what's our purpose beyond profit? What is the reason we exist beyond making money? Yes, making money is good. Making money is how we provide for jobs and families and all those things. But the organization has a purpose that's bigger than making money. And we as leaders have to be able to articulate it and cast it into the organization because people want to know. They need to be able to know. They need to be able to understand that there's a reason that their work matters. And it's not just about making a single point higher return on a quarterly earnings report. That's good. That's necessary, but it's not the reason that we exist. People want to know, people want to understand, why are we here? What does the organization exist for beyond profits? There's a well-known story. Christopher Wren was the architect and designer of St. Paul's Cathedral in London. And I don't know if this story is a myth or actually the truth, but it's been repeated so many times and it paints such a perfect picture. See, he was walking past 3 stonemasons and he asked them all what they were doing. One said, I am building a wall. The second stonemason said, I am here to provide for my family. And the third said, I am constructing a cathedral for the kingdom that will last forever. Now, all 3 of those stonemasons were right. They just connected to the purpose very, very differently. One was performing a transactional task. He's our mercenary. 2 was providing for his family. He knew why he existed. This was work he needed to do and do well so he could take care of his family. And the third, he was building something that would last beyond him, that had meaning beyond him. And that's the power of being able to take the answer to that question. Why are we here? What's our purpose beyond profit? And enabling our people to connect and understand, to connect to it, to connect with it, and to derive meaning from it. Question number 1, why are we here? What is our purpose beyond profit? Keystone question number 2, where are we going? This is our vision. People need to understand that there's something bigger over the horizon, that there's a direction that we're headed in, that we are shooting for something. People want to be part of something big. They want to connect to what it is we're doing. People have to understand that we as leaders have a vision, that we know where we're going. We may not know how to get there yet, but we have something we're aiming for. I remember there was a time when we were working on our NPS scores in automotive repair group, and we said, hey, we don't want to just get better. We want to be the number one in our association. We want to be the absolute best. Our vision is to be the best at what we do, and we're going to measure our progress through our NPS, but that's how we're going to know. Our vision is to be the best. Question number 2, where are we going? What is our vision of the future? Let me ask you something. Are you leading off of instinct? I mean, you've got the vision, you've built the thing, but most leaders I talk to are still flying without a system. Vision to Victory, the mastermind, changes that. It's a 12-week experience where we install the leadership operating system you've always needed: purpose, strategy, cadence, metrics, execution. This isn't a course. It's not more content. It's a small group of leaders who are done chasing clarity and ready to lead with it. You'll walk out with a full leadership operating system, a trusted circle of peers, and a repeatable way to scale without losing yourself along the way. There are only 12 seats in this group, and most are already spoken for. It's an application-only process. Go to arcusgroup.com/mastermind to apply. Keystone question number 3 is, how are we going to get there? People need to know that we as leaders have a plan, that companies have a plan, that there is a plan that they can connect to. I read a Harvard Business Review report once. It said that 95% of the people in an organization don't understand the strategy of the company. Said differently, that means that only 5% of the people know and understand the strategy of the organization. So that means we as leaders are counting on 5% of the people in the company to make that strategy a reality. People need to know that there's a plan. They need to know that we know how to get there, that we're working towards that vision, that there's a plan that they can contribute to. Question number 3, how are we going to get there? What's the plan? Question number 4, and I honestly find that most organizations really fall apart with questions number 4 and 5. Now, there may be a good purpose, and there may be an incredible vision for the future, and there may even be a good plan. But question number 4 is where it really starts to take root for the team member, the person closest to the customer, the one who's fighting the problem dragon. Question number 4, where do I fit in? How does my work connect to the plan, to the vision, and the purpose? You see, we as leaders have to be able to connect those dots. And we have an entire episode on the power of connecting dots. But if we don't enable them to connect the dots by collecting the information, the stories, the nuances necessary to cast out our purpose, our vision, and our plan, we are intentionally moving them from being missionaries to mercenaries because they're just here to do a task. That's not why we're here. That's not what makes a difference. That's not what makes an enduring, great organization. Question number 4, where do I fit in? And question number 5 is one that oftentimes people will say, well, that's the financial question. And I don't think it is at all. Question number 5 is, what's in it for me? Now, that does sound transactional, but it's not. It's not at all, because it's not about money. It's not just about money. I mean, let's face it, we have to provide for our families. We have to pay the mortgage, pay the rent, have money for food, have a little money left over for fun. But beyond that, we want to know that our work matters. It's not just about what's in it for me from the perspective of the paycheck. It's about opportunity. It's about growth. It's about the ability to contribute to something bigger than yourself. It's about being able to ask and answer of yourself the single most important question. How do I know that today was a good day? What must have been accomplished? What must have been done? What must have been created? That's my absolute all-time favorite question. I ask it in interviews. I ask it in podcast interviews. I ask it in job interviews. I ask that question of anyone. When you get home at the end of the day, before you shut it all down, what must have happened for you to know that today was a good day. What's in it for me? This is about personal impact. This is about making a difference. This is about knowing that my work mattered. That's what's in it for me. Leaders have to be able to answer these questions first. If you can't answer these questions for yourself, how on earth can you expect your team members to answer them? You have to cascade them deeply into the organization, but only after you can ask and answer them of yourself and for yourself. When you can do that, then you can start moving towards them becoming a keystone unlock. And how do you define a keystone unlock? When your team members can answer these questions without you in the room. This is why that's important. You have put the most important information in the hands of the people who will make the most important decisions, the ones who are facing problems for our customers and the ones who are solving those problems with our customers, the ones who are helping our customers, the ones who are out there making a difference, overcoming challenges. When these questions can be asked and answered by everyone in the organization, magic happened. Those are the keystones that make the framework so strong. Question number 1, why are we here? What's our purpose beyond profit? Question number 2, where are we going? What's our vision? Question number 3, how are we going to get there? What's our plan? Question number 4, how do I fit into this? And question number 5, what's in it for me? What is my impact? What is it that I will gain from this? Leaders, ask these questions of yourself for your role, for your organization. Lean in, take an hour, answer these questions. If you can't, write the answer, do the hard work, connect the dots, because then when you can do it, you can cast it, collect it, cast it, connect it. That's what leaders do. That's how you create a keystone culture that's based on creating missionaries, not mercenaries. Here's how you can apply this in the real world. Start with yourself. Write down your answers to these 5 questions. Then get buy-in from your leadership team. Ask them what they think. Say, hey guys, I wrote down what I think is the answer to the question, what's our purpose as an organization beyond profit? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Before I even share mine, what do you think? Why are we here? You might be amazed at what you learn. If you have cast the answers to those first 3 questions into your organization, questions 4 and questions 5 are wonderful for one-on-ones. They're wonderful for skip level meetings. They're wonderful for town hall meetings. Hey guys, I want to spend a little bit of time talking about what we do, where we're going, and how we're going to get there. In my professional career, I've had the opportunity to conduct hundreds, if not thousands, of town hall meetings, team meetings, skip level meetings, connection points with team members. And I'll be honest, people always knew what I was going to talk about. In fact, I once overheard someone say, hey, look, I know what Dusty's going to talk about every single time he shows up. He's going to talk about our purpose, our vision, and our plan. He's always going to talk about our purpose, our vision, and our plan. And I better be ready for that because I know he's going to ask me questions and I know that he wants to understand, do we get it? When you show up for your team meetings, can you talk about your purpose? Do you have a clear picture of the vision? And do you have a plan? Purpose, vision, and plan. Do this so often until it echoes back from your team. It's often easier to look outwards and see what people did or didn't do. The challenge question I might ask you to think about for yourself is, are you a missionary or are you a mercenary? Do you show up and approach your leadership as work of a missionary to enable and power the success of others? Or is it a mercenary to complete a transaction, to drive to a result? Those are necessary things. Those are must be done things. Those are entry price to the game things. But that's not why you're there. Leaders lead through influence and impact, and you can unlock that within your organization by answering 5 simple questions. The exponential impact of these questions is not that they can be answered. It's that they can be answered when you're not in the room, because then you'll know you have an entire organization filled with missionaries, enabled and empowered to make the right decisions on the most important information at the point where it matters, where there's a problem or where there's a customer. Take 30 minutes this week and write down your answers to these 5 questions. Write them down for your role, your team, or even for your company. At your next huddle, ask just one of them. Ask it as a question and let your team speak into it. Listen, learn, collect those stories, cast them out, and continue to connect the dots. If what you've heard resonates with you, then please subscribe to make sure you don't miss an upcoming episode where we talk about the importance of connecting the dots, and leave a rating. It really helps us share and evangelize our story as missionaries to make better leaders. That's our purpose. That's the reason we're doing this. We want to empower leaders to be more impactful and influential in their lives. And our plan, our big, hairy, audacious goal is to impact the lives of 100 million leaders. And that can only happen with your help. If these words matter, understand that it isn't about us. It's all about you, and it's about helping you empower the people that you serve.